All right, everyone. I appreciate you tuning in today to the community conversation. I am super excited because we have Tom Slicklen on today. He is the founder of Provision Ministry. And why I'm so excited, not only is this organization incredible and they're doing incredible work, it's one of the first organizations that I've put social capitalist money into in 2021. So I've invited Tom on to the community conversation today to talk about Provision Ministry, what it's all about. Tom is a local guy. He's here in Westboro, which is extra special. He was introduced to me by our good friend and longtime Prototype member, Jay Chung. And Provision Ministry, it's not only an interesting organization, but it's one of the more efficient nonprofits that I've ever come across. And they are helping homeless, underserved families, children, veterans, addicts. And Tom is just, I've gotten to know him over the last month or two, and he's just a good from within person. And I'm just so excited for y'all to get to meet him. And again, Tom, thank you so much for being on today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you for those kind words. Thank you very much.
Yes. Well, like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited for the community here to hear about your story, hear about what Provision is all about. So why don't you kind of give us the background? Like, I know you've been in the nonprofit space for a long time, even before you started Provision Ministry. Why don't you kind of give us kind of like your background and how you got into the nonprofit space?
Sounds good. Yeah. So I'll start kind of back early. I grew up in Needham, Massachusetts, and just to give you some background, came from a pretty broken home and experienced a lot of things: drug use, alcohol, neglect, and all that stuff. And again, this is not to tell you to feel sorry for Tom Slicklen. I don't feel like a victim anymore, but that's my background, and I think that's what over time has helped me to want to do this kind of work that I'm doing now. My father was in the footwear industry. He passed away at 57, and I was able to take over his business. So I started off my career in the shoe industry. I worked in the shoe industry for about 18 years. I had the opportunity to go to China, Korea, Taiwan. We were one of the first shoe companies in China, and China was very primitive at the time. This was in like 1984, 85. Some places that I went had never seen a white person before. That's how early on that we were over in China. So I did that for about 18 years. And then I went quickly I left that industry and went into the high tech industry. This is when the dot-com thing was just rolling and people were making tons of money, and there was venture capitalist money out there. And I went to work for a group called Nation Street, based here in Westboro, that was doing logistics. And unfortunately, that thing lasted for about 9 months, and then the bubble burst. And I said, what do I really want to do with the rest of my life? How do I want to make an impact? How do I want to leave a legacy? And did some soul searching, and just through some really cool experiences, ended up going to work in the nonprofit world for an organization called World Vision. And if you don't know World Vision, they're in about 100 countries. They bring hope to people that are hurting. So they bring clean water, and they bring food security, and they help to build homes and whatnot. And so I was able to travel around the world to see their work and to bring donors to see their work. So I've been to places that a lot of Americans or even anyone has gone to. Places like where the child soldiers are up in northern Uganda, Rwanda, where they had the genocide. I've been to Swaziland, which had the highest rate of AIDS in the world. I think it was like 1 out of every 3 people had AIDS. Just incredible. And so I've been fortunate to really see poverty up close, and and it's sobering, and yet, I felt empowered that we were trying to help and do things. And so I did that for 10 and a half years. And then I decided to go to work for Straight Ahead Ministries. And they're based in Worcester. And what they do is they work with incarcerated youth and gangs across the United States and in other countries, actually, and help these kids to get out of prison and actually build lives for themselves. So it's about bringing men and women that are locked up, bringing them hope, and then giving them the resources to go out and build a life for themselves, and to leave gangs, and to walk the straight path. So I did that for 6.5 years, and then I started Provision. And really, what happened was I got let go of Straight Ahead, not knowing that that was going to happen, because things were going pretty well there, but they had to make some cuts. And I said to myself, what am I going to do next? And that's when I came up with the idea of Provision.
I mean, you told me the story before in terms of like your journey, and it's always refreshing to hear it again, because you've been you came from a space that wasn't in the nonprofit. You've been into multiple industries, then into the nonprofit space. It made a major impact on you, and you spent close to 18 years or so, 17 years within two organizations, and then started your own. And I'm excited for you to kind of tell everyone what Provision is all about, because I mentioned in the introduction, it's incredibly efficient. And that's what I really like about it, is that you're able to connect, like identify, connect, and then help these other nonprofits that are in need, almost like you're like a connector. Can you give us now kind of like, kind of the background on what Provision is all about? What do you guys do?
Well, you actually just said my tagline, because my tagline was identify, connect. The last piece you
I did my research, man, before I gave you money, man. I know my stuff.
What a perfect. So what Provision does, right? The idea was that I came from a big nonprofit, and then I went to a very small nonprofit, and I realized that the small nonprofits really had some big issues of paying their bills every month and getting resources. And I thought, well, I think I can help with that with my background and all my experiences. And so that's why I started Provision. What we do is we provide resources to the front troops that serve the people that we had talked about earlier, people that serve the homeless, people that help refugees, people that help addicts, people that are really down and out. These are the people that we want to help supply goods to through other organizations. So Provision, really what they do is we hand off to like a Boston Rescue Mission or a Worcester food pantry, and allow them to give out the product to their clientele. So if you see the first slide, that's my logo, and it's all about the loaf and the fish, about Provision, about moving. The logo is about movement, that we continue to kind of supply people with things. So if you want to go to the next slide, I'll just show you a little bit more about, or get into depth about what Provision's all about. Maybe, can you hit? Oh.
Yeah, let me just. Oh, I see what I did. Technical difficulty. It's okay. We're figuring it. It's 2022, and I'm still figuring out soon. It's okay.
You're better than me.
I got you now. All right, here we go. There we go.
So what I realized that every day, right, thousands of people, men, women, and children in low-income communities don't have the resources they need, right, to improve their lives. So that was like not an epiphany, but something that I saw out there. So I said, how can all my experience and all the things that I've been able to do, how can I help impact that? So you go to the next slide and I'll just, so really what Provision is, I'm a bridge that I connect, you know, quality nonprofits with the kinds of things they need, whether it be donors or money or goods or services. We want to be collaborative in what we do and not worry about territory and who gets credit and all that, and just go out and do good work, and good things will come back to Provision. So we do this through a network of our donors and nonprofits. And I have decades, as you can tell, I'm a little bit older than you. I have decades of building relationships and just my experience. So that's part of it. And we can go to that next slide.
Yeah. Well,
So,
before you say that, Tom, I mean, that's one of the reasons, I mean, that I wanted to support you with the social capitalist money. I gave you $10,000 last year. And what struck me was the relationship component. You know, part of what a big core belief of mine with our vision at Prototype is to become the greatest relationship business. And we have, you know, very strong community with that within Prototype. And like your ability to develop relationships with, you know, these folks, not only just donors, but vendors and folks that can supply these things to you. And then you're interconnected with the nonprofits that need that stuff. And you make it easy. And that's what I like so much about it, is like the efficiency, but how important the relationship component of this, both on like supporting side, but also on the other side as well. Because I'm looking at two sides. There's the vendors and people that are giving things, and then there's the people that need it. And you're in between, and you're managing the relationships on both sides. And I just find that very impressive, and it's really cool.
well, I can tell you, like on the product side, right? There are a lot of companies that say, hey, we don't want you to sell this. We don't want it to end up at a flea market. You know, we have to respect that, right? And build that trust, right? That the product is going to actually end up to the end user, which is the homeless or the person that is a refugee. On the other side, we have to make sure that our partners are also doing the right things for the product we give them. You know, so there is a lot of trust involved, and you know, you build that through just relationships and time and learning who you can trust and who you can count on. So yeah, you know, you talked about too about our efficiency. You know, I look at this, it's not my money, okay? It's your money, it's donor money. So it's a sacred exchange, right? So I don't want to spend that money in a way that's not going to honor you and the people that give it to us, okay? So I try to work extremely efficiently. And so I think we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I really care about where I spend the money and make sure that it goes the farthest. So, so what Provision does, right? We provide brand new, everything that we do is new, okay? Clothing and food to these organizations. So I've listed them here on the PowerPoint. Clothing and footwear, we get hygiene products, we give away school supplies, home goods, PPE, and non-perishable and fresh food. So those are the kinds of items that we bring in and then give away. We were earlier talking about donor partners, right? So I want to list some of those. So here's that exchange. You see the handshake up in the upper part of this photograph or slide. So our donor partners, and these are just a list of some of them, but we work with Bombas, and we work with Campbell's, and we work with 7-Eleven, DHL, World Vision, the USDA, and a host of other groups. And then we also, on the receiving end, we have that list there that shows you that we work with shelters across, really now we're working across New England and New York. So we've really expanded. We started in Massachusetts, and now we do a tremendous amount in Connecticut and also in New York, upstate, Long Island, and the city. So we work with YMCAs and boys clubs, low-income schools, veteran groups, food pantries, rehab and recovery centers, and other nonprofits. So those are our two partners, really, and the people that give us money.
Yeah, and it's funny that this is the next slide, because I was just going to say that your growth has been the trajectory has just gone almost like vertical. over the few years that you've been running the organization because of the efficiency and your ability to give at low cost, right? And maybe you'd like to talk about that. I know that for the folks that are listening on maybe on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts that might not be seeing this video right now, if you want to look at any of the slides that Tom provided, you can go onto our YouTube channel to watch this video. But the slide that he has up right now is basically the revenue growth or what's just been distributed over the last 5 years from 2017 to 2021. So Tom, I'll let you kind of walk through it.
Sure. Well, all things start in your garage, right? Microsoft started in their garage or basement, whatever. I started Provision out of my house and then worked out of my Jeep Cherokee to start with. So started that in 2017 and really took about 5 to 6 months to get everything, up and running, the website, the legal papers and all that. So really we started in the middle of 2017. And in that year, we brought in about $423,000 worth of brand new inventory, which we distributed out to the community. In 2018, we did almost 700,000. We're rounding up a little bit, but just for the audience sake out there. And then in 2019, we did 1.3 million. All right. But then all of a sudden COVID hit in 2020. And I was dedicated to continuing to do what I do. And I thought it was even more of a more need to get things out there because of what was going on in the world with COVID and whatnot. So, and in 2020, Provision gave away about 7.5 million in goods. And then last year, and it's just blown me away. We're almost at 18 million that we've given away. And what I'm really proud about too is that we spent about 250,000 last year on giving away almost $18 million worth of inventory. And we don't have a warehouse. So we use other people's warehouses. We move tractor trailers around and get them to the people that really need them. So you don't hold product long, which you don't have the warehouse. If you need to use a warehouse, you leverage relationships for that. From 2019 to 2020, you basically 6x what you gave away from 2019 to 2020 in a pandemic year, and then from 2020 to 2021, more than 2x from 7.5 million to that, so almost 18, upwards of 18 million. So I don't know if everyone's following, but like, Tom, can you explain kind of like you mentioned almost 18 million that you gave away, but only taking in only a couple $100,000. Can you kind of like walk through like what that means? Well, I mean, I think it means that we're really efficient, but we're almost too efficient. We really need to get a warehouse at some point. That's really a driver for me so that we can do a lot more than what we did in hopefully 2021. That's the big hard part right now is that there's not a lot of space available, but I'm looking. Again, it's not my money, so I want to be really wise with it. And I want to be able to show people that if you sow into this nonprofit, that you're going to get a huge return back by really stretching your dollar that you've given, 10 or 15, 25 fold. So you always want to look when you give to a charity, what's your return or what's the impact? And because we're in the GIK business, and it's not a business, nonprofit. I'm a nonprofit, but it is a business. You want to be able to see a good return on that. So
it just blows my mind. It's so cool. Again, I think the word of the day is efficiency here. But you also mentioned the struggles like with what's going on right now is obviously to be able to continue the expansion is obviously then have a warehouse to be able to even expand in size. And over the last few years you've moved from just helping and providing in the state of Massachusetts to all of New England and into New York. And like, how many folks like work in the organization?
Well, it's a pretty tight crew. We just hired, I have 2 part-time employees. I just hired one about a week and a half ago. She's going to be director of operations. And then I have another employee that works 2 days a week, and she drives trucks for me and delivers product. My wife does a lot of the back end stuff, and I have a bookkeeper that is not on on our payroll, but she's a subcontractor. So, but again, trying to build this thing so that it can be scalable, and when I go away someday, that someone else can take it over. That's my hope. I don't want it to die once I pass away. I want to be able to hand this off to a younger generation to be able to take this to the next level. So
totally.
Yeah.
Well, you're making an incredible impact right now. I mean, this is I'm just gonna show the next slide if you want me to kind of keep rolling through.
Sure. So during COVID, right, we gave away food, and through COVID and through 2021, we gave away about 1.3 million meals. And this was the result of me getting into an accident and then finding out, going to this warehouse, knocking on the door to see if I could get a wrench or a crowbar to fix my truck. Turns out it's 7-Eleven's warehouse where they do distribution, and they had this huge refrigerator, 17,000 square feet. And just so happened that this farmers to family program was happening, and I was able to receive in truckloads of cold product and be able to bring it into 7-Eleven's warehouse and then distribute it the next day. So we were bringing at the end of this program roughly 4.5 tractor trail loads of fresh food every week. And that was going to Springfield, Worcester, Lowell, Lawrence, Haverhill, Methuen, all areas where there was a tremendous pocket of food insecurity. So here's a picture of one of the boxes. It had protein in it, it had dairy, it had fruits and vegetables. It was an amazing box to help people during a very difficult time. So really, I love giving away food. Food is it's your basic need, shelter, food, and so yeah.
100%.
So here's a picture. The one on the right is me at 7-Eleven warehouse, and they have become such a great partner. All right. When I first met them, they gave me a couple of boxes of fruit and some whatever cupcakes and whatever. One day, this gentleman calls me, Jim, and says, "Hey, I got some hand sanitizer for you." I'm like, "Okay." So I had no idea that they had a tractor trailer full during COVID that they wanted to give. Yeah, I mean, and not only do they have that, then he brought me over and he's like, "Here's like whatever, 10 pallets of toilet paper, and here's 5 pallets of disinfectant. Here's some gloves." And it was like everything that we needed during that time that they gave us. It was like it was literally 3 tractor trailer loads. I mean, it was like remarkable. So that blew me away. So that picture is me with the 2 gentlemen that work at this warehouse. And then the other picture you'll see on the left, that's me with a bunch of Bombas socks. Last November, Bombas sent us 200,000 pair of compression socks, and they retail $18 a pair. All right.
Wow.
So this is at Bob Kraft's warehouse. I was allowed to use his warehouse to bring in the socks. So
wow, it's cool.
Yeah,
so cool. And I'm excited for you to talk about this. This is a really cool program that you have.
So yeah, so we do 2 things at Provision, right? We give away free product. We don't ask for anything. Then we have this Care Pack program, and this is a way for companies and groups and other like banks to get together and do a pack event. So you can do team building, right? And then do something significant for your community. So we do a pack building program And what we do is we bring these resources, whether you do a homeless care pack or you do a veterans pack, we have school supply packs, we have hygiene, we have family. We just came up with a kids pack, and now we're going to have a customized pack. What you can do as a company is we bring all the materials in bulk to your facility. We set up the line to pack the goods, or you can help us do that. And then we pack the items together, and then each one has a handwritten note in it by whoever wants to write something personal to the person that's getting that pack. So it's like a win-win for everybody, Mike. The people building them, the community, and then it also helps provision, to relationships. So
just I guess a shameless plug. So for anyone that's listening to this right now, that they may work at any organization, if they wanted to do this with their organization, maybe like collaborate or to do something like this, how would they get in contact with you, Tom?
They can go to my website, provisionministry.org. There's a whole thing on pack builds there, or they can email me. You're going to see my information at the end of this clip, at the end of this PowerPoint, but they can email me at tom@provisionministry.org.
Cool.
So here's some of the packs, Mike, that you're showing on the screen. And because some people can't see this, we don't have to go over each one, but it gives you detail of what we put in each pack. And the cool thing is I get some things donated and some things are that I have to go out and buy, right? So the packs you can't go out and buy these packs for what you can sponsor them from Provision for. Nor would you want to go around trying to collect all this stuff because it's a pain in the neck. So we take all that away. You can go to the next slide. We've done about 23,000 packs since we started. So I see this as a really growing part of our nonprofit here. And what's cool is we can brand the bags with your name on it. So your bank's going to have, whatever, Cornerstone Bank or your company. And so it's a great way to get PR too, if you want that. So next slide. Cool. Here's just an example of a veterans pack. And again, we put 2 pair of Bombas socks in there. And Bombas socks can go anywhere from, like $10 to $14 a pair for online socks. So we put 2 pair in the pack. The veterans packs are $22, but you get soap and shampoo and we're trying to upgrade all of this stuff. We now get Colgate toothpaste and, just trying to make it better and better and better so that when these veterans get these packs, not only do they get some really quality supplies, but they get a note card. I think you might be able to go to the next slide. Oh, no, that's actually a gentleman who is giving away the veterans packs. This gentleman has only one arm. And he services or helps deliver veterans packs to disabled veterans.
Wow.
That's why I do what I do. Okay. That's why I do what I do. And but the other thing that we put in these packs is a special note card, and that's I think the most powerful thing in the pack, really, because a lot of these people that are lying in beds or are sleeping outside, they want to know that they have value, that they haven't been forgotten, So.
Wow. Again, if you guys are not watching this, you should tune in on YouTube and check out the presentation. This is a pretty powerful picture that Tom's sharing right here with this gentleman. That's pretty powerful stuff. And you can understand why you do what you do, Tom. You are incredibly passionate about it and very good at it too, and you're helping a lot of people. But I don't know if you want to explain this slide here.
Well, it's really just my year-end newsletter. So as of right now, because we're over the $30 million mark now. This was as of the end of December of last year, we're at 350,000, 27 million. we've brought in a little over $3.5–4 million so far this year in goods. So we're tracking in a good way, and we're at about 30 million. This is just a slide of kind of a recap of what I do every year for my donors to say, here's what we've done.
Totally.
And it's all about team, right? It's all about team. This is not about me. This is about us, and I couldn't function without donors. I couldn't function without people on the ground helping the people that I want to help. So, there's a lot of unsung heroes out there. And I just want to acknowledge that this isn't about me. This is about team. And I know you're about that, Mike. You're about team, right?
I'm all about, man. You got it. That's why you and I get along really well. You're doing a lot of good things, and the idea of being, selfless, right? Helping others and wanting to make a difference. And it's cool. I'm so glad that folks can hear your story and hear what you're doing. I think it's pretty special. And I got to give another shout out to Jay Chung for introducing us. So it's really cool. It's really special.
So this is my mission statement. It's really about equipping nonprofits and bringing people together, and to also do community development, to help do corporate responsibility, and so that's really what my mission's about, and really just trying to get people involved and understand more the needs in their community. And so the last slide is just how you can contact me. It's got a picture of one of my trucks. We definitely stick out when we're driving around, for sure. That was the intent, so
I'm sure. I'm sorry. I was gonna say I'm sure people are gonna notice your truck way more now after listening to this, seeing you guys driving by and everything. And again, if you guys are not watching this, you can contact Tom if you'd like to support or like to learn more about Provision Ministry. You can check him out at www.provisionministry.org, or you can send him a direct email, tom@provisionministry.org. Again, if you'd like to support, even with the care package option, if you have a company or business that you'd like to learn more about that, you can feel free to reach out to Tom. So cool. Tom, you remember what I mentioned before the episode, before this started, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So you folks that are listening, we've been season 2 of the community conversation. We've been ending these episodes with what we call 2 truths and a lie. So Tom's going to give us 3 statements. 2 of them should be true, and 1 of them is going to be a lie. I gotta figure out which one is the lie. Last week, our first episode of season 2, Lisa Z was the first one to do the 2 truths and a lie. It was pretty fun. So Tom, you're the next one up. I gave you some time to think about it. What do you got? I'm 0 for 1, by the way.
Okay.
So hopefully I can redeem myself from last week.
All right. Well, the first one is that I lived in Haiti for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want them all in a row? Is that it?
Oh yeah, keep going. Yep, keep going.
Okay. 2 is let's see. I'm just trying to think. I traveled to Europe when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And number 3 is I was the state champion in my wrestling class at 155 pounds.
See, I feel like all of these are kind of true, but I feel like there's just small details that are just altered. That's what my take is on it. So I feel like this is kind of tricky. I feel like I have a feeling you were the state champ, the wrestling champ.
About that, I meant to say karate champ. So I
karate champ. Oh. So that's definitely the lie.
I lied.
Oh, you lied.
So I don't know how that works, but anyway.
So was that supposed to be the lie, or you?
I can't say now yet. Well, no. Now you have to go.
I gotta pick it now. I gotta pick it. I gotta pick it.
Oh, I gotta pick it, or you gotta?
No, I'm picking it. It's the state champ. the wrestling state champ. Is that the lie?
Well, I've messed this whole thing up. Okay, so
So you gave two. You gave two. Did you get? I hear what you're saying now.
I screwed up. But why don't you pick out the first two? Is there any truth to
you know what? I will go with Haiti, and I think you lived there more than 2 years.
No, I never lived there at all.
But that was a lie, though.
That was a total lie.
Okay, so that was the one I thought was a lie. All right, I was just guessing.
Yes, yes.
So were you were the karate state champ?
I was. That I was. And I was supposed to say that I was, but I didn't know why.
Got it. So I guess I'm almost like I guess both lies. I guess the state well actually I guess I didn't really. I was just calling you on it. So okay, so you got to tell us though. So you were state champ in karate. Like what like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, that was when I was skinny and young, but I fought. I worked out in Boston in a gym, Taekwondo, and I also boxed. So boxed in college, and I was a black belt in Taekwondo. So my instructor put me in the AAUs, the full contact champion, what fighting series, whatever. And I won my weight class for the state in AAU full contact.
Wow.
Yeah, this was before the whole,
UFC.
Yeah, this was, there was none of that grappling and all that. It was just stand up. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so I did that. Yeah. You would never know. I mean, I looked like a nice guy, but I was actually pretty tough in the gym. I very kind of like I do with my life. I mean, when I work, I take things very seriously, and I try to put out my best. And it was really a great way to channel a lot of anger and a lot of, just a lot of stuff. It was just a great tool for me. So yeah, that's the truth. Okay, that's the truth.
And then so the Europe trip was another truth. You said you went to Europe.
I did do that. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that story, or what was that all about?
Well, that was all about just kind of like going for it, like just not knowing where I was going over there, putting on a backpack, flying over to England, and then actually started off with 2 women, and I think they were more interested in staying in London, and I was like, oh, there's this huge world out there. I can get on a Eurail and go to other countries in Germany, and so they kind of wanted to hang out there, and I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. And I just hopped on a ferry and went over to Amsterdam, which if you haven't been there, that's a pretty crazy town, let me tell you.
I've never been there, but I can only imagine.
Anything goes. I mean, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, culture shock.
Yeah, exactly. I went through the red light district, and they have like, it's a big port, so you have tattoo parlor. It's a pretty crazy. They have the hash bars and all that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy place, but I went from there and went down into like Austria and Germany and Italy, and it was just wild, and it didn't know where I was staying or any of that. Just kind of
figured it out.
Just figured it out. Yeah.
Now, how long are you there? You said a month?
No, I was there for like 6 weeks, I think. It was about 6
weeks.
weeks.
Wow, what a trip.
I tell, I don't know what it's like to travel there now with the way the world is, but
totally.
Traveling is such a cool way to experience the world. I love to see how other people live and what they drink and eat. I don't necessarily like to go to like the attractions. I like to see how the people live. That's what really gets me all juiced up,
That's cool. That's awesome. What a cool story. Yeah, I was in Naples, Italy recently, and Rota, Spain, and it's pretty challenging navigating the COVID regulations and restrictions and stuff like that, and especially if you're going to go for multiple countries. So per your point, I don't know what it's like to travel. Well, I do it a little bit, but I can imagine it being even more difficult, kind of going in and out of all the different countries, if all the countries have different rules and whatever. But cool, man. Well, I feel like I guessed the right answer. I'm gonna give myself a W on that. So my score is I'm 1 for 1 on this new 2 truths and a lie. I appreciate you participating, and again, Tom, I appreciate you being on our community conversation. It's just so cool for you to tell your story And for everyone that's listening, really appreciate you tuning in, hearing Tom, hearing about Provision Ministry. Again, if you want to check them out at www.provisionministry.org. You can email Tom directly at tom@provisionministry.org if you want to learn how you can get involved or learn more about the organization. Again, these community conversations, we post them every Monday. You can check them out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our YouTube channel. So Tom, again, thank you so much for joining in today. Appreciate you being on, man.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I really, really enjoyed it. You're awesome. All right. Thank you, bro.
You got
All
it.
right. All right.